Hey everyone, it's April. I am a self-love coach who helps women overcome self-sabotaging patterns through loving approaches so that they can have clarity and confidence in all areas of their life. And this is going to be a course that I'm offering, that I'm sharing with you, my Next Level Thought Leader Society, for free, just because you guys have trusted me and loved me. And this is just pretty much a thank you to you, saying that, here's some free content for being a part of my life and helping me through the process, and hopefully this can help you through yours. So this is the self-love guide, okay? Everything pertaining to self-love, everything like that I use for self-love practices. And it's really just like an overall view of like making self-love like something that is understandable and tangible, because self-love can sometimes seem like like almost hard, like elusive. It can seem like, like, oh, well, am I really loving myself? Am I truly loving myself? And then there's this idea that, am I talking about the love that is patient, and kind and altruistic at heart and just, overall like good for me? Or is there like the love that is like conceited and like fearful and, like all the ego stuff? So let me just go ahead and go over the terminology that I use for this so that you guys can understand what I'm talking about. So I like to use the metaphors of like your higher self, or God, so to say, right? Like your higher self is like synonymous with love. It's synonymous with like the God within you, like the part of you that is like true and good to your nature and to your core. And then there's the ego. And so the ego, when I'm referring to that, you can think of that as like bad, evil, like the part of yourself that is like fearful and, like irrational and just like really, really hard to live with, and really like, causes a lot of pain and suffering in your own life. And I use these two metaphors because really what I'm trying to get you to understand, and what I believe fully, is that like the loving and good part of you is always, always, always stronger than the egoic, fearful side of you. It's always stronger. However, when we're not like truly loving ourselves, and we're not truly taking care of ourselves, and we're not truly putting ourselves like in a situation where we can love and take care of ourselves in situations that are difficult, then the ego can tend to manipulate us into believing that something is wrong with us. It can manipulate us into believing that we have problems, and that like we're just these terrible people and like nothing's ever going to change. And it's pretty much just like a crazy, fearful idea that like we think is true. And so since we have a fear that it might be true, we buy into it, and it spirals our life out of control. It spirals our personalities out of control. And it just overall like really hinders the whole like self-love and like true love, right? It really turns us into people that we're not at our core, and it makes us think something is wrong with us. So why is self-love so important? Like I just said, like self-love is how you take care of yourself. It's how you like put yourself first, right? Self-love fosters understanding and growth, right? Like when you're loving yourself and when you're truly loving yourself, you can look at the things that are hard to look at with a compassionate eye, versus looking at it through the lens of judgment, fear, shame, guilt, all those things. You don't pretend that those emotions aren't there. You don't ignore those emotions by being a self-loving human being. You actually like have a genuine respect and almost appreciation for them, in the sense that you don't resist them. Self-love is not about resisting the negative. It's actually about understanding what the negative is trying to say to you and how it's trying to help you. So for self-love, right, it like fosters this growth. It fosters this understanding. And at the same time, it's you protecting your well-being and protecting your happiness. It's allowing yourself to really like guard those things about yourself, love yourself, so that in situations you can choose your loving, like well-being, altruistic side over your ego. And that's just really what it's all about. So these are the ways that like I personally keep on track with my self-love. And self-love, first of all, is like, taking care of yourself, giving yourself the time to sleep, giving yourself the time to eat, giving yourself, what is it called? Like permission to be a human and rest when you need to rest. That's all a part of self-love. Another thing for me that is a big deal is moving your body, right? So like when you don't move your body, when you allow like, when you have like a sedentary job, even I can get into this sometime. I kind of got into it last week where I was like sitting and doing all this stuff on my computer and I wasn't moving. So it like really like bottled up a lot of energy, and I would find myself getting frustrated, you know, like tension in my back and shoulders. Moving your body and like just having like a movement practice, you know, going on walks, getting up when you're at work to, you know, go move around. Even like having a fitness program, whatever. Like when I was in Beachbody, like I felt good most of the time, because if I ever had stagnant energy, I knew I could go work out, do an at-home workout really fast, and then, you know, I would feel a little bit better. You know, like movement can always be a catalyst to push you in a better, more bright direction. So never like think that, you know, working out is in vain. It's really not. It can be helpful. You know, moving your body is helpful. We're human beings in this body and we like to move. So whatever it is, dancing, you know, like getting up to go take your dog on a walk, like use those as like sacred times to like really like love yourself and really allow your body to move, and like really like accept the physical portion of us and really like honor it and like allow yourself to move for the people who can't, right? Another thing that is like super, super important is taking guard of your thoughts, right? So taking responsibility of your thoughts is one of the biggest things that's going to help you with self-love, because what you're going to realize is that on this self-love practice, you're going to have thought patterns that are going to trip you up, and they're going to make you want to, you know, they're going to make you think that, oh, you know, self-love isn't like important. It's more important to please these other people because these other people are like giving you a hard time. Things like that, right? And so when you really truly guard your thoughts and you're really aware of what it is that you're thinking, you get into this place of acceptance, and you get into this place of understanding like what is driving you, like what is really driving you. And so I have this acronym, or no, it's not an acronym, but these 3 things that I do whenever I have thoughts. And the caveat to this is that, like I said before, when you have fearful thoughts, they can create like, you know, they can kind of give the ego like more room to grow and like fester if you don't like actually shine a light on them. If you don't actually like, when they come up, like acknowledge them, right? So I like to say, I got this like part of it from Gabby Bernstein, who's like this really great self-love thought leader. It's like, you know, look at that thought every time it comes up, or that fear, with acceptance, you know, accepting that, oh, okay, you know, accepting through a lens of compassion is what I like to say. Like when you're accepting of a thought that you have, it's not out of judgment. You're not, you know, jumping straight to changing the thought, because I've done that before. And when you jump straight to the last step, which is correction, right? When you jump straight to, oh my God, I'm having this thought, I'm supposed to be over here, I just need to change that thought. You're not honoring the kind of like the sacredness of what that thought is trying to show you. Like all of our thoughts are really trying to help us. Like they're really in their own way trying to help a desire that we have made like probably long ago, right? And sometimes that just means like, you know, sometimes that can be self-sabotaging, right? Sometimes that can be completely a lie, but you have to look at that with acceptance. And when you look at it with acceptance through compassion, you can realize, oh, okay, like you take time to honor that thought. You take time to really just like understand, like, you know, what fear like has brought this thought upon me, you know, like what is this thought maybe trying to do? Like, you know, maybe this thought has good intentions, but it's not like 100% accurate. You know, maybe it was a fear that, you know, one thought may have like turned into this huge thing that's not really necessarily true. So once you look at it and like really accept and really honor that, wow, this is really just trying to help me. This is really just, you know, a misunderstanding, but, you know, like you're actually accepting and compassionate about it, then you can move to forgiveness. So forgiveness is a really, really big thing when it comes to growth. Forgiveness is our ability to say, you know what, like, I'm bigger than this. This is not bigger than me, and I'm going to be the bigger person and just forgive this, you know. I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to, you know, forgive it, forgive everyone involved, including myself. So I always do like self-forgiveness as well as forgiveness to like the part of me that thought that this thought was necessary, right? Because what you always want to think about is that your thoughts are helping you, but they have different tones and different, they have different, how do you say it? Like different personalities almost in a way, right? Like different ways that they try to trip you up. And it's not that they are like, it's not that they have to be true. They're not true unless you make them true, right? Like the one thing about your thoughts is that your thoughts really do like shape how you see the world and really do filter what your brain is like taking in and how it takes things in. So once you realize that and you take ownership for it, once you look at your thoughts and you forgive that thought, you accept it and you forgive it, you're automatically wiping that slate of, you know, filter of bringing the past into the present, and you're wiping that clean. And you're like allowing yourself to be present in this moment. You're allowing yourself to see things for how they are and not through a lens of past regret or past traumas or past fears. So once you've forgiven the thought and you've wiped that slate clean in your heart and in your mind, that's when correction comes in. And that's when you can look at a thought with loving eyes, like compassionate eyes, see how, you know, see how it was trying to help you, and then realize what you really need, right? Realize what it's really telling you, and realize what, like, you know, truth you can create out of that misunderstanding. So I'll give you an example, right? So say that I'm feeling like I'm having this thought like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Oh my God, you know, I don't think that I'm good enough. You know, and I, in that moment, recognize, wow, you know, like I can feel it in my body, and I notice it from feeling first. I'm like, wow, you know, I'm not feeling too like normal. I'm not feeling light and like, you know, in the flow of things. I'm feeling kind of rigid and turned off and kind of like, you know, almost like dense and heavy, right? I can feel it like in my chest or in my throat. Speaking of, let me get a drink of water. And so when I notice that, when I feel that, I can literally say, oh, you know, like, what's the thought there? And the thought is usually like, you know, I don't think I can do this. I don't think that I'm good enough, you know, like, da 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 da. And the thoughts can keep coming. But once I reduce it down to, okay, I don't think that I'm good enough, that's when I look and think, okay, like, that's what I'm thinking, and that's making me feel like I'm not good enough, right? And it's making me stutter over my words. It's making me doubt what truth I have to share. And so I can look at it with acceptance and be like, you know, where is this coming from? Well, you know, I have had a hard time with feeling good enough my entire life because I was, you know, part of like a religion that was very strict and, you know, had certain rules, and you had to act a certain way, you know, and like my parents were very like demanding when it came to like how I was going to make good grades and how I was going to act in school and things like that. So all of those things, like, I brought with me into the present, and it's making me think that, you know, I have to be this perfect person, and I really know that I'm not perfect. I've never been perfect. I messed up all the time, and I felt really bad about it, right? And so I'm bringing those past situations into the present, and I'm thinking, and I'm allowing those like filters almost. Think of it as like a filter, like a brain filter, right? Instead of like being open to the possibilities and to like the free-flowing energy and like the God within me, I'm bringing these past like kind of traumatic, kind of like scary experiences, and I'm in a situation where instead of feeling happy and like, you know, open to whatever happens, I'm closing off, like, you know, like I'm scared. I'm feeling like that little girl who was messing up a lot as a kid. I'm feeling like that girl who was you know, in like a very strict environment and would always kind of get in trouble for not doing what, you know, everyone told me to. So then I would realize, like, that girl never thought that she was enough, but my higher self, like the God in me, knows that like I've been good enough from day one, and knows that, you know, that was just a misunderstanding from really long ago. And when I just really take that and like honor that, like, it's almost like you honor it with like your breath, like, like, you know, I understand now. It's like this, oh, okay, it's not a pity, it's not like a judgment, it's really just a, oh, that's why I feel this way, right? And when you have like a aha moment, so to say, that's when you know that, oh, okay, even though that's how I was feeling then and I'm bringing it into right now, my truth, my love, like the God in me is so much more powerful than that fearful thought. those past experiences. And I know that I am good enough, and that's just a lie or a misunderstanding. So since I know it's a misunderstanding, and I just honor the part of me that's trying to protect me, that's trying to keep me from feeling uncomfortable again, or, feeling like a failure again, I can say, hey, like, I just need to forgive that, like, I forgive that girl for coming up and for, for trying to make her business known, like, I forgive her, and I allow her to, just gently go back to where she came from. I tell her, like, hey, I'm okay. I know that I'm good enough. I don't need you to come up and, like, say this, but I will honor you and I will thank you. And then, just let it go. Like, forgiveness is all about just letting it go, right? And then the correction was kind of along that topic. So in the correction, I was like, the correction would just be that, like, I am good enough. I know that I'm good enough. And that was part of the, like, the total acceptance part. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the acceptance will include, like, knowing, like, the correction, but it's like allowing and honoring that at the same time. And when the correction comes, it's like the seeds of doubt are planted just by thoughts that we allow to pretty much, like, it's a thought that we think maybe in a split second, right? And instead of acknowledging it and, like, acknowledging it for the either truth or the lie that it is, it's kind of like we allow it to just sink in. And it's kind of like planting a seed, right? It plants a seed, you leave it alone, and then it comes up as self-sabotage later. It comes up as, doubts and fears later. So by constantly, like, creating and controlling these thoughts that you're having through these practices, you can really correct it however you want to, and really, like, allow yourself to, like, get better at knowing who you are, and get better at, like, loving yourself enough to know that those thoughts don't serve you and those thoughts aren't right? It's like you're putting your, not only, like, physical health, but your, like, mental, emotional health first as well. The next thing that you might be thinking is, like, okay, April, like, you're talking about these thoughts and, saying that I should be guarding all these thoughts, but I'm a busy person, like, I can barely even remember what I had for dinner last night. How am I going to, like, check a thought right when it comes, Like, if you feel like that person that is, like, in it all the time, like, constantly swayed by your emotions, constantly swayed by what's going on around you, if people are in a bad mood, you get into a bad mood type thing, then I would definitely suggest, to help you out with all of this, is a mindfulness practice. So mindfulness for me has been, like, the turning point of understanding that, understanding that there is, like, a God and a love within me, that there is a part of me that is perfect and true always, and that I can, like, tap into that, right? But there's a difference between knowing about it and, like, actually cultivating it. And mindfulness and meditation for me is cultivating that connection with, like, the genuine love and truth within me. It's like allowing myself to really, like, almost, like, merge with that side of myself and kind of, like, gain knowledge with that side of myself just through stilling my mind and what I think is, like, 100% and what I think is real, and just really, like, settling into, like, the essence of me that is true. And I use that through just, like, deep breathing meditations and quieting my mind and, doing whatever I think, whatever I'm intuitively led to. So if you've never done any mindfulness practice, like, there's an awesome app called Headspace. I don't know if it's free or not, but I also used an app called Stop, Breathe, Think. That was a really good one for me. There's free meditations on there. They start low, and I would definitely suggest, like, doing a guided meditation first, because when you do a guided meditation, it's like it takes the pressure off, and then you can slowly dabble into whatever you want to dabble into next. If you don't want to do a guided meditation, just, like, play music that doesn't have words to it, and that's, like, soothing to you. And then just, like I said, focus on your breathing, It's not about, like, you don't necessarily have to quiet your mind. It's kind of just, like, choosing to like, separate yourself from your thoughts in a way, because your mind may still be thinking, right? But it's like, I always think of my awareness as going from here, like, to my eyes, and down, like, my face, and down to, like, my neck, and down through, like, to my, like, chest or heart area. And I just kind of, like, do that and, like, center into that. And when I'm centered into my heart, that's when I feel like I'm definitely centered into my truth. So that helps a lot. It's one of the things that really, like, allowed me to open myself up to like thought, like, you know, recognizing my thoughts and like really accepting and forgiving them and trusting myself to do that. A lot of the times at the beginning, you have to like be really diligent. Like, you know, it's almost like taking a pen and paper with you wherever you go and jotting down the thoughts that you have and how they make you feel. And then from that, you know, like just accepting that, right? Just forgiving that, just correcting that. But all of that wouldn't be possible if I didn't have the self-awareness that mindfulness practices or meditations give me. So that is like a huge, huge one that like if you cultivate and like you utilize, it can really change your life. And then like the last thing that's really fucking awesome that I love and that I should probably use more of, but I definitely see like the value and it comes with the correction, is making like kick-ass affirmations that remind you of your truth, right? So it's like when you're in the flow and you feel good and like things are just working out for you, that is like the main time that I use to really just write down like all these reminders of things that I'm going to need to know whenever I kind of feel out of like sync or out of touch. I remember I made my mom like these like really positive bookmarks that had like all these things, like, you know, like the truth is within you, like love is in you, it's never left you, you just have to release the blocks to it. And, you know, just like remind myself that, hey, I'm like this kick-ass person, I like love myself, you know, I love like my life, my family, I'm so grateful for it, you know, like making the goals that you have, making the making like just reminders of like how good it feels when you feel good, so that when you're not feeling that good, you can look at it and be like, oh yeah, like, you know, and you can kind of go back into that state. So that is like my form of affirmations, like to help me get out of a funky state, like if I kind of feel like I'm too in it. But another really good way to use affirmations is to recognize that everything in your life is happening for you, and that it is like you're trying to keep yourself safe. So affirmations, if you want them to be like extremely effective, and kind of like if you feel like affirmations haven't worked for you before, there's like a trick that you can use where you're actually going through like affirmations that, you know, like with past things that, you know, come up for you after you've recorded, like, you know, you've gotten all of the thoughts that, you know, trigger you a lot and often. And it's like looking at those thoughts and identifying what the fear is, identifying what, like, you know, your desire is, and your desire is to feel safe, like your desire is to protect yourself. And then just saying like, okay, I release the desire to hold on to this thought out of fear, and it is safe for me to do whatever this thought is keeping me from doing, right? And then if you're a Christian and like in the name of Jesus Christ, you can say that at the end of it, you know, with like light and love. If you're like not Christian, you just have like a spiritual practice, you know, and like, you know, that light for you symbolizes God and love. Really just saying whatever to you is like a sealant on it, you know, that really amplifies it, that really makes it true to you, and is just able to like kind of like instantly pull you out of the crap, right? It's like your higher power that you believe in and using it to your advantage. So affirmations, they're very like personal to you. It's like specifically what you're dealing with at the time. And you can set them as reminders on your phone, you know, you can make like a banner of them, whatever you feel like you need to do, but it's just all there to help you like grow this and foster this self-love, right? It's like reminding yourself of the love within you whenever you kind of get caught up in life and you forget to take care of yourself, or you forget, you know, that that pleasing other people doesn't always please you, those types of things. So if you definitely like have any questions, let me know. I think I see like Jill is on right now. Hey girl. I couldn't tell if you've been on the whole time, but if you have any questions, let me know. I'll wait for a little bit before I get off. Also, Jill, I just did like a really good Facebook Live on my personal page that I think like really ties into like a lot of the stuff that we talked about the last time. So if you definitely want to watch that, it's like up and running if you want to check that one out if you don't have any questions. I've never really done a live on my group before, so I'm just trying to see how it actually works. Let's see. Let's go to my page. someone said there's like a 20-second delay on all of the comments. And I'm just like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I never see the comments. Like, they're always like so delayed. It always confused me. Let's see if there's any comments on here. Cool, okay. So I don't see any comments, but definitely, like, this is a training that, like, I'm going to be putting in an email stream, like, for people to choose whether or not they want to, like, be a part of, like, an email group that I'm going to be listening out to. So if you do want to be a part of that and you got this free training, go ahead and just, like, drop your email below and I'll put you on that list. And then, yeah, like, this is, like, it's not going to be free, but you guys got it for free just because I love and, like, I'm so grateful for you. So thank you just for being yourselves and for, like, trusting me to help you, guide you along this, like, journey of self-love. And definitely, if you have any topics that you really would like me to discuss, let me know. Okay? Bye, you guys.